This is a virtual public meeting of the Board of Education in compliance with the Ohio Department of Health stay-at-home orders. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant? Mrs. Ellis? Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Here.
And Dr. Turner?
Yes, here. This one's not working.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Ellis will be joining us when she gets here. She's running a little bit late. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Where's the flag?
It comes through the door as we speak.
Just stand there and hold it. And Becky's microphone's not working. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Board members have had the opportunity to see the agenda for this evening. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as written?
So, second.
Moved by Ms. Bryant, seconded by Mr. Kilgore. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Glenn? Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes. Members have also had the opportunity to see the minutes from last month. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as written?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Bryant, seconded by Mr. Kilgore. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes. Special order, Mount Healthy Teachers Association.
There's no report from the Teachers Association.
Okay, thank you. Item 7 is, 6B, communications announcements, public input.
We do have some public input. We have an email that was received by Mark Schwartz. It states, "To the Mount Healthy Board of Education members, I would like to respectfully point out that it was a bit hypocritical that the decision to have Mount Healthy go back to live teaching was made while you were meeting via Zoom. I know that it was the order of DeWine, but that makes this situation even more ironic. Surely you can see this. DeWine ordered sporting events, outdoor and indoor, to socially distance, as well as restaurants, yet not schools. I also was a bit stymied by some of the board members' misinformation about COVID. Because of this, I would like them to know that even when the teachers get vaccinated, they still can carry the virus. Hence, their families will still not be safe. That is information that is important for any future decision. Thank you for your time."
Thank you. I will point out that we are obviously here in person tonight and not virtual. Mr. Glenn is virtual because he couldn't be here. As soon as we knew that the staff would be expected to be back in the buildings, we went back to in-person meetings. As for the, not to be argumentative, but actually all the public health experts are not certain whether you can spread the disease once you've gotten vaccinated or not. So, you know, we're doing the best we can with the information that we have, but we appreciate our teachers bringing their concerns to our attention. Item 7 is the Great Oaks Board Report. Mrs. Ellis isn't here yet, so we can come back to that if she has one. Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay. Item 8 is the Legislative Liaison Report. The first item on that is on state funding. Governor DeWine signed an executive order on January 22nd, 2021 that implements budget reductions for fiscal year 2021, but partially restores funding cuts made to K-12 education in that fiscal year. K-12 foundation payments were cut by $300 million in fiscal year 2020. Districts continued to see reduced foundation payments in fiscal year 2021. The executive order will make the net reduction for fiscal year 2021 $140 million, restoring $160 million back to the districts. That's confusing. Basically, it comes down to they took away $300 million. They're giving us back $160 million of that. Work has begun at the legislative level for the state and with the governor on the biennium budget. I'll keep you posted as details on that are worked out. And on House Bill 305, which I reported on last year, which has now become House Bill 1 for 2021. Essentially the same bill, but it got kicked to this year. It's a new funding bill that was introduced last year, has been reintroduced as House Bill 1. I'll be watching and updating as this process unfolds. It would have some pretty substantial changes to our funding. I was reading the information today, though, and Becky, I didn't get the sense that it did anything about the fact that we're funded through property taxes, does it?
No, it's another remake.
Yeah, so it's not really the answer that most districts are hoping for. And that's the legislative report. Item 9, report of the treasurer, Ms. Brooks.
Thank you. You received your January schedule of bills. I'd like to recommend their acceptance.
Do I have a motion? Moved by Ms. Bryant,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Kilgore. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. You also received your January 2021 financial statement. I'd like to recommend its acceptance.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant? Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item C is a recommendation to authorize the treasurer to create the account for Healthy Visions. I'd like to recommend its acceptance.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Ms. Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes. Becky, you still have one more item.
Pardon?
You still have one more item.
Oh, I was waiting on you to say something you usually do. No, I guess
No, I
that.
don't.
Never mind. Okay. Item D is a recommendation to extend the 10-day reporting period for COVID sick leave for new COVID cases, and this would be effective back to January 1st.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion?
What do you mean by extended 10 days?
The law, the FFCRA, and I don't really remember what that totally stood for, but they covered people for 10 days, and they didn't have to use their sick leave. We considered that a wash for them. Anything after the 10 days, if they were still off, they had to use. Well, we thought that law was going to be extended, but it was not. So we felt, because there are new cases occurring, that we would go ahead and extend it ourselves for probably until June 30th. And we're hopeful that once we have the vaccinations, that we won't be looking at a lot of new cases.
So what you're saying, we're gonna extend it and not, so they won't be able to use their sick time?
For 10 days, they will get 10 days that they don't have to use their sick time.
Okay, and then after the 10
And
days?
after, if they have time after the 10 days that they need to be off, then they will have to use their sick leave.
Okay,
Yeah. So for instance, if we have a teacher that's required to go into quarantine, then these 10 days would kick in, and they wouldn't have to use their own personal time for the
Okay.
first 10. But then after that, they would.
So far, we've only had one case that I'm aware of. Here,
We have more.
Okay.
Just today.
just
So-
today. I spoke too soon.
Okay, any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. Item 10 is the superintendent's report.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Hawkins.
So we're starting off with some informational items. Some of our district leadership will be shifting around, and so we just wanted to have that noted in the agenda. Laura House will be the principal at the Early Learning Center. Laura right now is at South Elementary and asked to make that move. We're really excited about her being there so that we can make that focus on making sure all of our students leave our Early Learning Center on track, ready to start first grade. Karen Berg, who is the secretary currently at the high school, has asked to go to the Early Learning Center as their clerical support, and so we would like that to happen, as well as Donna Picard will be the counselor at North Elementary. Donna started in the district as an elementary counselor. When those positions were cut, she then went to the high school. Now that we are restoring those positions based on grant money that was received, she is asked to go back, and we'd like to honor that. B is recommendation for some change orders for Mark Spalding Construction Company for the Early Learning Center. Order number 7 is a notice of claim for additional time. Change order number 8 is to delete 1 layer of furring. Change order number 9 is for a storm line revision on Adams Road. Change order number 10 is to add, delete door hardware cores. Change order number 11 is the removal of brush debris. And the different prices are listed. The total cost adjustment, $9,249,492.75.
Do I have a motion? Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Mrs. Ellis? Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item C is the recommendation to approve the following resolution. Whereas the Mount Healthy City School District Board of Education wishes to advertise and receive bids for the Mount Healthy Early Learning Center and wishes to approve the furniture bid documents having an estimated cost for the work of not more than $286,000. Whereas whereas the Board of Education has appointed certain authorized representatives, the authorized representatives, to act on its behalf during the planning, bidding, award, and construction phases of the building projects. Whereas the Board of Education has contracted with a qualified professional design firm, SHP, the architect, under Section 153.65 to 153.71 ORC to prepare plans, specifications, and estimates of cost and such data as the Board of Education deem necessary in compliance with Section 3318.091 ORC. Whereas the Board of Education, on behalf of the State of Ohio, now desires to commence the competitive bidding process for the bid packages for the project authorized under Sections 3313.46 and 3318.10 ORC. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Mount Healthy City School District authorizes the treasurer to advertise and receive bids on behalf of said board as per specifications submitted by SHP for Mount Healthy Early Learning Center.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion?
Is this for inside the building?
It is. It's for all of the inside furnishings.
Okay.
Okay. Any additional discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
yes,
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item D is the recommendation to enter into a service agreement with Learning Science International to provide Marzano Learning Services for continuous teacher growth and leader evaluations. Total cost $45,246.
Do I have a motion to accept, to enter that agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
yes,
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item E is the second reading for recommended Mount Healthy Board of Education bylaw and policy changes that are listed below and supplied to us via our Neola representative.
Do I have a motion to accept the policies as written?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
yes,
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item F is recommendation to enter into a partnership with the Mount Healthy Police Department to assign a full-time police officer to Mount Healthy City School schools at no cost to the district.
Do I have a motion to enter into that partnership?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Ms. Ellis. Any discussion? And that's the police department got a grant?
They
That
did.
was going to cover the costs?
Yes, Mount Healthy Police Department, we've been working with them this year, and they received a grant, and Officer Dunn will be utilized in all of our buildings, and he will be a school patrol officer. He has already been over meeting students, very positive person, and everyone is very happy to have him.
Okay. Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
yes,
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item G is the recommendation to enter into a service agreement with Hamilton County Educational Service Center, HCSC, provide an administrator on special assignment to serve as the interim business manager.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion?
Yeah, what costs and the time frame will she be here?
Great
for?
question.
They will be.
The cost will be a little over $50,000, and it will take us, Ms. Wethington resigned effective at the end of this week, and so the rest of her contract would basically be rolled over to Hamilton County ESC to provide money for a business manager from whenever they could start after Friday through the end of the summer. And the thought is we'll hire a new business manager that then would start on August 1st.
Now, she's going to be here in-house, correct?
He will be in-house, yes.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
And Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item H, recommendation to accept the following donation for the Mount Healthy Junior Senior High School students, $600 donated by Healthy Visions.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? What is Healthy Visions exactly?
Healthy Visions is just additional money given to help our students with eye checkups, glasses,
Oh, okay.
things like that.
All right. Any additional discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
And Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item I is the recommendation to adopt the consent agenda, which has different items listed below.
Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as was presented to us ahead of time?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 11 is special orders. We don't have any. Item 12, open discussion by the Board of Education. We had discussed last month the possibility of revisiting our mission statement for the district. And so I'd like for us to give that some thought tonight. So our current mission statement, and as I said at last week's meeting, it's a fine mission statement, but it's very generic and could really be talking about any school anywhere. And if we want to keep it, that's fine, but it's good to revisit once in a while. So our current one is Mount Healthy's Board of Education, administration, and staff are committed to providing diverse, high-quality academic programs designed to maximize each student's potential, a highly skilled and innovative professional staff who reflect our community's values, a safe, clean, and caring environment where discipline and respect are held in the highest regard, and an atmosphere and attitude that welcome parents, family, and community involvement. So I came up with a few questions for us to consider, and the board members who are here in person have copies. So do we want something shorter than this? Do we want something that's more like a slogan, a single sentence that can be easily remembered? Do we want something approximately like what we have here, but maybe tailored a little bit more to our specific situation in this district? And if we want to revise it, does anyone have any ideas and suggestions? So I also printed out some sample mission statements, and some of them are very short. The couple of shortest ones that I found Our vision is to forge strong, positive connections with students so they can achieve independence, build confidence, and gain academic knowledge. Or, our school creates a pathway to assist students in achieving their educational and personal goals, leading to a fulfilling future within the greater community. To me, those don't say anything better than what we already have. I mean, they're short, but they're kind of, not so exciting. So I'll ask the other board members, what does everyone think? Do we want to tweak this a little bit? Do we want to leave it as it is? Do we want to tailor it a little more to our district? Do we want to make it longer, shorter? What does everyone think?
Yeah, I think it's time for a change. Not saying that the old one is not good enough, but, we are moving forward. So as we move forward, we should change our mission statement. And I call it like this one, our mission is to provide a safe haven where everyone is valued and respected. All staff members, partnership, and parents, families are fully committed to the students. College, career readiness, students are to meet their current and future challenges, to develop social awareness, responsibility, and personnel growth. I thought
I like that.
that
Yeah.
touches all bases.
That one is, I kind of liked that one as well. We don't have to copy it word for word, but it's a nice one as sort of a starting point, at least. I know we mentioned last month maybe having something, now our old one says a diverse, high-quality academic program, but we have a very diverse student body as well, and I think something, the one that Mr. Kilgore just pointed to starts with our mission is to provide a safe haven where everyone is valued and respected. I think maybe something that addresses and inclusive and maybe respects the diversity of our community. Something like that? Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm fine with the one I just read. The mission is to provide a safe haven. Not saying that you may want to tweak it, add a word here and there, but
Well, do we want to add something about diversity and inclusivity in there?
I think it says it right there. We want to provide a safe haven. We want to make sure the kids move forward in their college education and so on. Their growth, responsibility, and social awareness. I think it's all there.
Thoughts from anyone else?
If you wanted to add, like after everyone, you could put a diversity clause there, like everyone regardless of something, but that is everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I guess the value of getting a little more specific is that it's sort of the problem I had with our old one, is that it is so generic. And I do like the idea of being a little more specific so that it's acknowledging that our district has diversity in it and that
Everybody's included.
and that everyone's included. Moving forward, there are going to be issues of gender identity preference and all kinds of things like that. And I think, being a little more specific about, we could say everyone is valued and respected.
you could say everyone is treated equitably or something like that. That each of their needs are met according to what those needs are, versus if we said equally,
Right.
we're all given the same thing, whether that's exactly what we needed or not.
Okay.
How about, where it says I like that statement, But could we add, starting with the last one, both inside, after that statement, both inside and outside the classroom, that helps them develop the knowledge, critical thinking skills, and character necessary to succeed in a technological advanced world?
Oh, okay, that's from the last one.
Yeah, just that last one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of liked that part too. So maybe something like, so if we start with, our mission is to provide, do we want to start with the safe haven thing? Because our main mission is education. I have a little bit of a problem with starting with anything other than education. Anybody else feel one way or the other about that?
I think there's a lot of families and students. This is their safe haven.
That's true. I mean, I'm not saying take
This
it
is
out.
a
I'm just
safe haven.
saying not have that be the very first sentence.
I don't think that they would come if they didn't feel safe.
Well, I'm not saying they won't feel safe. I'm saying this is our mission, and I'm just saying that, you know, yes, we want them to be safe. We want them to feel welcome and all of that stuff. But if we were going to prioritize our mission, you know, we exist as an educational body, but we can leave it the way it is. So to provide a safe haven where everyone is valued and respected. All staff members in partnership with parents and families are fully committed to students' college and career readiness. This was actually a statement for a high school. I think, you know, given that we're all the way down to 3-year-olds in preschool now, do we want to specify college and career readiness? That's obviously we want them to have that eventually, but
But isn't that really what the whole 12 years is preparing them for either college or the workplace?
That's why I kind of like the last one, because it says lifelong learners.
okay.
That would be from kindergarten.
To provide
on.
an equitable education in a safe haven. Where?
Oh,
What do you
that's
think?
nice. I like that.
You like that?
Okay, so I'm sure probably nobody could hear that but me. So Ms. Brooks suggested our mission is to provide an equitable education in a safe haven where everyone is valued and respected.
So that kind of
So get
combines
education in that first
the
sentence
mix.
and get the equitable part in there. I like that. What does everyone else think?
State it again, please.
Our mission is to provide an equitable education in a safe haven, or we could say and a safe haven,
And a safe haven. That's-
where everyone is valued and respected as the first sentence.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
Okay. And then all staff members in partnership with parents and families are fully committed to students' college and career readiness. Could we say something like working towards college and career readiness? I just still have, I'm kind of hung up on that. We are not asking 3-year-olds to be college and career ready. Yes, that's what we're going towards, but that's, you know, to me that feels a little too focused on the end of it without everything that comes in between. So maybe fully committed to
I like that first sentence on the last one.
prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens ready to meet the challenges of the future. That's nice.
Because not everybody is going to college or to a career.
Right.
There
There are other
avenues.
things. Yeah, I have a little problem when we focus just on the college career readiness thing. Okay, so I'm gonna, so as our first sentence, our mission is to provide an equitable education and a safe haven. Where everyone is valued and respected. I'll put that down there, and hopefully I'll know what all my notes mean. We strive to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens ready to meet the challenges of the future. I like that for a second sentence. So then, the top one, or the first one we were talking about, says all staff members in partnership with parents and families are fully committed to students' college and career readiness. The other one that's somewhat similar says, in partnership with families and community, our goal is to create relevant learning opportunities for students. That
Like
part
that
of that
part.
sentence doesn't thrill me.
Oh, okay.
Well, just to create relevant learning opportunities.
If-
Well,
If we've said we have equitable education, that's kind of the same thing. You know, if we are doing that, then we have created relevant learning opportunities.
I like it because it includes the community.
Yeah, we definitely want to include the community.
well, and I suspect part of why several of these do include something like along with families and community, or in partnership with parents and families is also to stress that we can't do everything. You know, we do rely on the families and the community to be our partners. So I agree that we do want something like that. In partnership with families and communities. Well, what if we just, let's see. I feel like the way they have it worded there, our goal is to create relevant learning opportunities for students, just feels kind of, I mean, I would hope we're creating relevant learning opportunities. If we're not doing that, then we might as well just close up and go home. So does anyone have any suggestions to make that maybe a little stronger, a little more targeted for us?
Can you read what
So,
you don't feel comfortable with?
so what, I'm looking at the last one, and their second sentence is, in partnership with families and community, our goal is to create relevant learning opportunities for students.
Could you incorporate community in the second sentence? So we strive in partnership with families and community to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens ready to meet the challenge of the future. Could we put that up?
Yeah, I like that.
Because I do think it's important to include the community. You know, we're looking at our community and our families all the time for partnerships, and we really want to enhance those relationships.
Yeah. Okay, so we would start out, our mission is to provide an equitable education and a safe haven where everyone is valued and respected. In partnership with families and community, we strive to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens ready to meet the challenges of the future. And then Ms. Bryant liked the last part of that one, the both inside and outside the classroom that help them develop the knowledge, critical thinking skills, and character necessary to succeed in a technologically advanced world. I really like that too, so we just
Yeah.
need to figure out how to start that sentence.
But I think that kind of goes along with the first. If we say we strive as, you know, in partnership with families and communities, you know, you end with meet the challenges of the future, both inside and outside of the classroom. You know, so you could make that an extension of that thought
Yeah.
that help them develop knowledge, critical thinking skills, and character.
Do we want to list those things though? the knowledge. Personally, I'm real big on the whole critical thinking skills aspect. I think that's something that's really lacking but the reason it's really lacking is because we only have so much control over that in a system that's so driven by standardized tests. But I do think it would be nice to be able to stress it a little bit more. Partnership with families and community. How about, in partnership with families and communities, we strive to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens, both inside and outside the classroom, or we could reword that, both in their education and in their lives, or, something like that. Now I've lost my place.
Ready to meet the challenges of the future.
Yeah, ready to meet the challenges of the future. Okay, how do we want to word that little bit there then? The inside and outside of the classroom part. Do we want to just use inside and outside the classroom? Do we want to say something about, in their education and beyond, or?
What do you think, Miss Bryant? You really like inside and outside classroom? What are your thoughts on that?
It's kind of weird to me. A little off.
It feels a little.
But I was trying to think of what to say. All day, no, but that doesn't work.
But isn't it what we're trying to do?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I guess you have to think about how people will read it and perceive it, and to me, like, inside and outside the classroom could be like in the classroom and out in the hallway, right? Like, like.
No, I wouldn't think of the hallway.
Well, no, but can we word it in such a way that makes it a little more clear that we mean within the educational system and beyond, in the real world, in their real lives, that's what the whole idea of, like, being a lifelong learner is all about, is that it's not just, okay, I've got my diploma now, I never have to learn anything again as long as I live, I'll never have to think again as long as I live. So maybe just a slightly different way to word that idea, instead of just the inside and outside the classroom. In the classroom and beyond.
Okay.
I'm open to suggestions.
That works for me.
But that's okay, both. So you want to say, leave both out of there and say inside, or?
Well, if you're saying inside the classroom, maybe you want to change it to something like academically and culturally, because that's what you're saying. You're saying academically for their knowledge, but then outside of the classroom is culturally in their community. We're always growing, we're always learning. So maybe you want to put specific words to inside the classroom would be academically or something like that,
Yeah.
and then something for instead of beyond, maybe define it.
Okay. So we strive to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens, ready to meet the challenges of the future academically and
I thought it was going to be, we strive to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens academically and culturally, or something like that, ready to meet the challenges of the future.
okay.
How about not just limit it to the classroom?
Okay. Do we want to put that at the end, or do we want to put that like after responsible citizens?
y'all figure that one out.
Sorry?
So I'll let you figure that one out.
Well, you know, that, I thought that we were just trying to end it with, academically and culturally.
Well, I kind of like ending it with ready to meet the challenges of the future, because that's a nice, solid ending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we strive to prepare all students now I already forget what the suggestion was.
We were talking about inside and outside of the classroom.
Right, well, I remember that, I just don't remember what the suggestion was somebody
Um,
made, and I said, oh yeah, that's good. And now I've
Ms.
completely
Bryant
forgotten. it.
said
Not limited to the
Not
classroom.
Not limited
limited
to the
to the
classroom,
classroom.
okay, yeah. To prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens in partnership with families and community. How about in partnership with families and community and not limited to just the classroom?
That help them develop knowledge, critical thinking.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I was just reading the rest.
Oh, okay.
Are we going then to, that help them develop the knowledge?
In partnerships with families and community and not limited to just the classroom. Let's see, we would probably put our goal is in partnership with families and communities and not limited to just the classroom, to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens ready to meet the challenges of the future.
So you're kind of melding those two paragraphs
Yes.
together.
Yes, we're plagiarizing from two different, but we're not plagiarizing. We like what they did, and we're adapting. Okay, so if my notes all make sense to me, let me read through the whole thing then. Our mission is to provide an equitable education and a safe haven where everyone is valued and respected. Our goal is, in partnership with families and the community, and not limited to just the classroom, to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens ready to meet the challenges of the future. How do we feel about that? Is it enough?
Yeah. Because you get
We
two
do all of
wording.
that.
Yes, we do. And it's not as, I do feel like it's, I guess it could also count for other districts, just like our old one could, but it is at least recognizing that the goals of, I mean, we talked last month in the agenda meeting, and we don't even know when the last time was this was updated, if it's ever been updated. So this is just, I think, recognizing that schools, we still teach, but what we're trying to do has changed in the last 20, 30, who knows how many, 50 years, yeah. Okay, do we feel good with that, the way I read it?
Works for me.
Mr. Glenn, any thoughts?
Can I hear the mission statement that we were choosing?
I don't think he has a copy of this.
No, he doesn't have a copy. So what we came up with, you want to hear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, if I can understand my own notes. Our mission is to provide an equitable education and safe haven where everyone is valued and respected. Our goal, in partnership with families and communities, the community, and not limited to just the classroom, is to, sorry, lost my place, to prepare all students to become lifelong learners and responsible citizens ready to meet the challenges of the future.
The end.
The end. Yeah.
Okay. It's a little long, but however, I like it. It touches on all points that we were looking to hit with the revised statement. So I'm on all go. Thumbs up.
Okay. I think it's actually a little shorter than our old
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
So
I think it's short.
there's that. Okay. I will use my semi-comprehensible notes here and write that up and send it out. And I'll read it again next month. We can vote on actually accepting it.
Okay.
So we'll be voting in March. Okay. Excellent. Item 13 on our agenda. Date of the next Board of Education meeting is Monday, March 15th at 6 p.m. And we are ready to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh,
I want to ask the question, yeah, I was looking for that open discussion thing. Can you tell me what we do as far as, and this is in respect to all students, their financial literacy?
A few years ago, Ohio passed a ruling or a law, actually, where financial literacy has to be taught in the schools. So we modified our curriculum to incorporate that in government. So government is a required course for all students, and financial literacy has become part of our government curriculum. So they do have a unit on that. Every senior or every student who actually goes through school and earns a government credit does have a unit on financial literacy.
Yeah, but I'm talking about before you get there. I'm talking about something
Checkbooks.
that a student should be learning about money. And I think that's a little late to be trying to teach them,
Sure.
you know, about finances.
Agreed.
We do have different units throughout the curriculum on money. There is something in middle school that examines, they do these projects where you get different jobs and what can you afford with different things, and then you plan out, it's called like real world. They do some activities in the elementary, but one thing that we are doing that is moving in that direction, we are looking to add some business classes at the junior high and the senior high. We're trying to arrange a partnership with Great Oaks for the senior high classes, and then offering more of those practical money kind of business classes at the junior high for targeted classes. But I agree, we can always do more of that in our curriculum because it is a very important thing for our students to learn and to understand.
Well, I guess I was more or less looking at, like somebody in the 3rd or 4th grade that when they, you know, parents say, well, these are the things you have to do in order to earn money. Then by the time they get to that junior high, they have looked at, you know, they finding a job. Even if at 13 or 14 they're babysitting or whatever, you know, how are they handling that money that they're getting? You know, I know sometimes kids get money and then the first thing they want to do is go buy either a piece of clothing or a game or something. And then it's gone, you know. But they should be made, or not made, but at least taught that some of that should be saved or, you know, some kind of little investment club or something that they're doing so that in the long run there is something at the end of the road. You know, you worked, you earned $50 and all $50 is gone. You know, I'm looking at teaching them
Mhm.
something that would make them responsible
Mhm.
with the money that
Mhm.
they're earning or given to as a birthday gift
Mhm.
or Christmas gift or whatever the reason they got the money. And I just know that some kids, they don't, you give them money and they just want to spend it doing this or that, and they don't realize that, maybe some of that you should put away somewhere.
Right.
So that at the end, you may want to get a bigger gift
Mhm.
or do something a little,
Buy a car someday.
Right.
explore a little bit more with it.
I will talk with Miss Wolf and see what we're doing at those levels. And I think that's always a good idea to be more deliberate about money and choices with money and how you can utilize money to meet your future goals. So
Yeah.
we'd be happy to look at that in a more deliberate way. We are looking to add some things after school. Maybe some of the clubs could be along those lines.
Yeah.
You know, junior entrepreneurs or something like that that would tie in to help students really examine how they're using money and what a role it would play, as well as credit and things like that. You
Right.
know, the importance of having good credit and what that means for your life as far as buying a house or a car or anything. So I think that's a great life skill that we definitely should
Yeah,
incorporate.
because I think a lot of times kids come out and they're not really prepared
Mhm.
to handle money.
I agree. I think that's a great suggestion for us just to make that a priority because there's a lot of things that are important, but that is a theme that we want to make sure our students are aware of.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Great question, Ms. Phillips.
Yeah. And I should have asked if anyone else had any other things they wanted to discuss. Is there anything else we'd like to discuss this evening?
Coming winter storm.
Okay, well, our buildings are open again. Our kids are back in. I know because the traffic gets really bad in front of my house again. I got spoiled for a long time without that. But we really appreciate our teachers stepping up because our kids really, really need this. And the staff starts getting vaccinated in 3 days. So yay about that. And yeah, good news and hopefully better news to come. Do we have any updates on the state testing? Do we know where that stands yet?
We have started actually testing this week. OALPA is the first. Right now, the state is saying that we do have to perform our testing. They're making a decision on whether it will count or not. Right now, they are saying that we will not get a report card this year, but they want us to test anyway. When our students came back in the building, we, of course, were working to get a baseline on all of our students. But OALPA is the first statewide test, and that's our EL students, and then it will move into the other tests. And right now, they are saying that we must test.
I think it's horrible to be testing the students given the year that they've had, but they didn't ask my opinion. All right, any other discussion?
It went out of my mind just that quick. But is this, okay, this testing that they're talking about, because I've heard some other people talking about it too, is this just testing on what the state thinks they should have learned at this point in time?
That's a great question. It is the same test as if they had been in all year long.
Okay, then what's wrong with looking at the tests that the teachers give at the end of each quarter or whatever they're doing, semester, and all the tests they give them in between?
From
I
this,
mean, Do they not value that anymore?
At the state level, they feel those tests cannot be compared equally because what one teacher might test on, another teacher may not. So from the state level perspective, they want to have the test that they feel is reliable and valid so that they can compare all students in their mind equally. Well, we know it's not an equal test and we know it's not fair for all students, but that's, at the state level, that's what they're using. Now, they are saying, at this time, I'm hoping that they will remove the testing as a graduation requirement for our seniors. That has not happened yet. So right now, we are still preparing our seniors as if some of them still have to pass a test. We are personally doing benchmarking just to help us fill those gaps. So our teachers will know where are the gaps that they need help with, but that's for us locally. The testing that started now and will become pretty intensive in April will be what the state says they should learn and what the state says they have to show competency on to graduate.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Okay. So we are ready for adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I thought we already did that.
No,
No.
we
Oh,
stopped.
yeah? Okay, maybe I was wishful thinking.
I'll move.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Kilgore. Any discussion? Do we have a vote, please?
Certainly. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yeah.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
And Dr. Turner?
Yes.
We are
Thank you,
adjourned.
everyone, and we are adjourned.
Good night, Kenny.
Night.
Good night.
Thanks for being here.
Okay.